everyone, welcome back to Houseplants Gone Wild. My name's Kelly. Today I just wanted to kind of go over some of the updates I have for the plants that I moved outside for the growing season, along with the plants that I've made a moss pole for just out of some jute rope and coco coir that I posted on my Instagram, Houseplants Gone Wild. The other thing I wanted to cover is the Dracena Dorado that I have previously propagated and I did in one of my videos, so I'll show you that. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on was the Dracena Dorado that I previously propagated. So far, these are the roots. It's been a few months and it hasn't put out a whole lot of new growth. A couple leaves are just coming up on the top there, but it is developing its root system. So I was going to up-pot this plant, but then I realized that the roots are not really fully developed yet. So I'm going to wait on that a little bit longer and I'll give this one some fresh soil. The plant that I did cut it from, it does have quite a bit of new growth. So this whole top stem here, that's new, as well as there's a little one here and, oh yeah, on this side here. So as you can see, the cut, I did a diagonal cut a little bit here and it has dried and calloused over and seems to be loving life. So these ones here kept in a warm spot just to help with root development for the propagated one. Both of them, I have them in indirect sunlight, but put them as bright of a location as I could. So I have this one actually sitting on our back patio, which is southwest facing. It gets a little bit of afternoon sun, late evening sun I should say. So it's nothing too intense for the leaves to scorch, but it does get bright light all day. This other one here, I have this on the front patio, which gets more intense light, but still no direct light. It's pulled all the way against the back of the house, which I'll show you the location, and that is a southeast facing. So my tripod's having a little bit of issues trying to collapse, so I'm just gonna walk around with the phone and show you some of my plants. This is my new plant ICU, intensive care unit, or intensive care box, I should say. So this one here, I have a heating mat that I got from Amazon. I have some grow lights that I got from Amazon. As you can see in the back there, 99% humidity, and it usually stays at about 28.6. So roughly around there. It's quite warm. It's really good for root development. Like I have this Mandula pothos that was just a small cutting. Wasn't doing so well, stuck it in here and lots of new growth. Same with this Monstera Peru. I was down to literally just a stem, down to about here, no leaves, and stuck it in here, and look at that. Same with my Calathea orbifolia. I had only a few leaves that were brown and crisping, and stuck it in here, and I have 3 new uncrisped leaves. So that's the plant intensive care box. Our living room, it's kind of died down a little bit. I've moved a lot of our plants outside onto the patio. One thing that I did get is from Amazon, this grow shelf. So I have a Monstera Addisoni, some pink or purple heart wandering Jew. Those hanging down there are actually Monstera deliciosa cuttings that I took from the 7-foot tall Monstera. And I have a Brazil philodendron. Below it, I have a Hoya. Let's just check what this is. Publicalyx, a Hindu rope, and a Linearis, I believe it's called. I'll have to check on that, but yes. So I have a few Bird of Paradise putting out a new leaf. Close the blinds because this sunlight, south exposure is really intense, but they're nice sheer curtains. So I want to keep some of these plants out of that really intense direct light. Even the Stramanthes Triostar. So that one's getting a little bit too much light, so I pushed it right up against the wall where it's barely receiving any direct sunlight, but it is bright light for it. So we're under a bit of a heat wave here in Kelowna, so it's about 30, it's supposed to be 37 degrees today, Celsius. So it's quite hot. So I'll be trying not to walk too much on this deck. Anyways, let's see here. So behind me, you can see I have that grow shelf with the pink lights that was in our kitchen. I moved that outside so that way these plants could just sort of get a little bit of natural light and save on some energy for the summer. So I've moved up quite a few of them outside here. They're loving life. Over here I have a Ficus altisma, and I put out some of the Monstera deliciosa that I have out here. I feel like they were getting quite a bit of sunlight when I had them inside, and they were well acclimated, so just put out this new leaf this week. It's starting to attach itself to the moss pole. It's kind of hard to see. There is a root right here that wasn't there before, really, so it's starting to attach, and I do wet this once a week so that way the moisture can be retained. And yeah, Ficus elastica, this one's growing like crazy. It did get a little bit of leaf scorch, but it's the only one that I've noticed that has that, so just be mindful of moving your plants out slowly. Here in the corner, I have a yucca king, small orange bird of paradise, the Ficus elastica tiki. This is a ponytail palm that I got from my mom. Nice strong trunk on it, and these leaves are quite long. It's quite old, but it seems to be loving it here on the southern deck. I also have banana tree, which put out a new pup this spring, and then in the fore corner here I have all the more intense loving lights. More intense loving plants. Yeah, sunlight. Anyways, so I got my succulents, some cacti hanging out here. I did just get this one. This is the variegated jade, as well as the variegated golem. So this one here did lose its variegation. I had it in sort of a dim spot, but I put it out here, and hopefully that'll come back, because I have another one here, but that's non-variegated. Our bedroom, I have this north and south, or northeast and southeast facing window. Got a few plants. So this one here is a Monstera addisonii. I did give it the moss pole, and I do fill that up with water roughly once a week or sooner, just to help it keep its moisture. Whoa. And that way it can attach itself to the moss pole. So it's doing quite well. Up here, these are all aerial roots that if my camera will focus. Aerial roots that have begun to attach themselves to this moss pole. There's another one in there attaching itself. It's, yeah, see if I can find some more. But it seems to be loving this moss pole. The other day I tried to adjust it a little bit, and it's hard to now because it's attached. So I also have over here, it does get a little bit of direct sunlight, as you can see. This leaf was actually kind of like this when I got it. This is a Monstera Thai constellation. So this one was just a cutting with one root that I got from a friend. So I had it in leca, and it was growing but slowly, so I decided to give it a mixture composed of cocoa coir, some perlite, orchid bark, and worm castings, and I actually got some bat guano, giving that a try. I have Ficus audrey, a addisonii. These are pothos cuttings that I got from another one of my pothos that is quite large. So it's got some new growth happening here, just sitting in some jar, or a jar of water. The other nice thing from Amazon is these. 27 here, 49% humidity. Usually try and keep it around 50 in the house. And yeah, the other cool thing is this. So this is a mix pot. So I have some neon pothos, I have some silver and scindapsus, I have some exotica, philodendron micans, and cebu blue pothos in this little pot. So I'm hoping that one day it will all grow together harmoniously and become a waterfall of different textures and colors. And yeah, corn plant. Up here See if my brightness turns up. So I have a string of hearts that's loving this bright light, and I have another one up top there that's starting to push itself into the other plant. This one here also, I've never had them flower on me, so that's kind of neat. I have the Dracaena and string of pearls. Here in the backyard, this is southeast facing, so we get quite a bit of light, and I feel like a lot of the light actually gets reflected off of this rock wall here. So we get some decent sunlight for some of these plants. I have, starting on this side, another Dracena fragrans, and I can't remember which variety this is, but a Syngonium. A very unhappy Monstera cutting. I potted it too soon, and the roots were not fully developed yet. Actually, I think I just broke that off. There's no roots on there, so that's okay. I can reuse that pot. My Majesty palm got a little bit of too much sunlight in the house, so you can see it's crisped really well. It was getting direct sunlight in the afternoon because these fronds were sort of hanging out into the middle of the living room. So I put it back here because you can see it gets some decent shade but still bright light. And at the bottom I even put some golden pothos and marble pothos. I also have another Monstera, which I gave sort of a very unwell put together moss pole of just jute rope and sphagnum, and a ZZ plant that I took a whole bunch of cuttings from. Chef Laura, I just got this one from my stepmom. She had this in the bank, and I find that bank and restaurant plants are sometimes the best plants to get cuttings from, or even get in general, because they've been neglected a little bit. You know, they learn to survive without a whole lot of water. They make do with the light that they have. And this one is about 8 feet tall and seems to be doing really well. Gave it some fresh soil. I gave it some of these support poles, just some cedar stakes to help it grow upward, because it was leaning all the way over to the left and falling over. Boston fern, and down here, Pilia peperomoides. I had to give that one it's a moss pole, but I wanted to give it some support because it was also leaning really far over towards the light. So just kind of straightening it up here a little bit, and it seems to be doing really well. Loves it. A Archaea palm, I believe. Archaea palm. There we go. And another Monstera. Just hanging out here. Loving life. So that's pretty much the backyard. Oh yeah, spider plant. Yeah, I don't know if I've actually ever done a video where I've shown the most of the house, I guess, backyard and all. But yeah, oh, before I forget, this is a string of dolphins that I had on the front deck. So it was getting a lot of southern exposure all day, and I thought it was pretty happy. It was growing, but I started to notice a lot of the leaves were crisping. So I put it out here, gave it some good water. Gets bright light all day, gets a little bit of direct sunlight early evening, and then a button fern, but nothing too intense that it can't handle. It was a little bit too much for it on the front porch. So moving inside in the kitchen, I did put a few plants up top above our kitchen cabinets. So marble pothos, peperomoidia scadens, I think it's called. And I just sort of wanted to see how they'd grow. It's a little bit of a lower light, but it does get some fruit fly. Does get some bright light, so that is a Monstera deliciosa, actually. Just a young one, so it hasn't put out any fenestrated leaves, but there is, right up here, there's some new growth coming out. So wanted to give it a little bit of light, see how it does up there. I also have Pothos Enjoy. Another marble, I believe. Yep, marble. And then over here, marble and a Deliciosa. So this right here, it's our southern patio, and that's sort of the light that goes through. A little bit more so it bounces off the ceiling, but surprisingly, these plants, maybe not pothos for being surprising, but the Monstera, not a whole lot of light up there, and it seems to be doing just fine. And as for my latest propagations, wanted to quickly throw these in. So I have another Syngonium. Set this down. I have a whole bunch of these. I just actually cut these yesterday. So these are neon pothos. I have a whole bunch of marble, I believe. No, these are golden. But as you can see, they are more than ready to go into some soil. I've just been kind of lazy. These are Chef Lara cuttings. I wanted to give this a try, just see if I can put them in water, if they'll root at all. I did try and get a decent amount of the stem, or the leaf stem with the cuttings. So just breaking them off, not actually cutting. Oh, one of them's not doing so well in there, so losing a few leaves. This one, this is a whole bunch of Brazil, marble, and neon. It's just packed in there with cuttings. So we'll see how those root. I did manage to take also some of my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma cuttings. So I put them all in here. I have one Rhaphidophora, and it was doing quite well, but it was just one stem, just growing straight up. So I don't actually have that in here. That's outside. So I wanted to get some cuttings and see how they root. And once they do root, I might put most of them back in the same pot as the mother plant. But I might keep a couple out and just have sort of individual cutting per pot just to get them to vine up or maybe hang down above our kitchen cabinet. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching, everyone. I know this was kind of a brief video, just a quick touch on plants I moved outside, how they're doing. I showed you the Ficus elastica that had a little bit of leaf scorch, so just remember when you're moving your plants outside, it is almost August, but when you're doing it, keep in mind that it's best to acclimate them slowly. Don't rush them, like I rushed that one. As well as some propagations that I've been doing. And mostly, don't be afraid to give it a try. You know, like I was winging it with this Dracena, but to my surprise, it worked out. You know, worked much like the Marginata or a Dracena fragrans. They just kind of, they survive. And yeah, enjoy, you know, cutting your plants up, making sure that you get your cuttings in some soil or some water when they're ready. I know those pothos that I did, I'll probably do that today. I should do that today, yeah. But yeah, I hope this helped. If you have any other questions, feel free to shoot me a comment or an email or check out the website. I do post more often on my Instagram, which is houseplants.gonewild. So if you have any questions, you can message me there. I check that regularly, whereas on YouTube and my Gmail and website, sometimes with work and with, well, done school now, but hopefully I'll have a little bit more time to play around with some answering questions or just more videos. I'd love to shoot more videos that are a little bit more in depth. So if you have any video ideas for some plants that I can do or some crafts that I can do. One other cool thing I will quickly mention is, it's hard to see in the camera here. There's a little bit of a jute rope basket. So I do these for some of my plants, and I hide kind of ugly plant stands that are just the cheap metal. But I've been doing this, you know, when I go to the beach or whatever, and they can get quite long, and you can set a plant pot in there, or you can use it as a plant stand cover, just to kind of give it a added touch. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks again for watching. My name is Kelly. Feel free to check out housplantsgonewild.com or .ca, as well as my Instagram, houseplants gone wild. Thanks.